So good morning students. In previous class we discussed about domain testing. Now we see the procedure for domain testing. Okay. So this is the procedure for domain testing. The procedure is conceptually straightforward. It can be done by hand for two-dimensional data. If the data is more than the two-dimensional, then we use the tools. Okay, that means up to two-dimensional data. So we are going to do manually. If the dimensionality of domains are more than 2, then without tools we cannot apply this procedure. Okay. The step 1 is identify input variables. You are going to apply this procedure only for two variables. Only for two variables. That means it's a two-dimensional domain. So identify input variables, and second one, identify variables which appear in domain. So define predicates such as control flow predicates. Identify variables which appear in domain defining predicates. Domain defining predicates. You can identify those two values such as control flow predicates. That means say x less than 10 and so y greater than 10, like this. Okay, you identify these variables which appear in domain defining predicates such as control flow predicates. And next one, third one, interpret all domain predicates in terms of input variables. Okay, so that means already we discussed about this in path testing. For example, if all variables assignments that lead to an uninterpreted predicate are specified, then interpretation can be based on the path. Through the path you are going to predicate this set of specifications. So you are going to use these set of specifications. So next, coming to fourth step. Fourth step, for p binary predicates there are at most 2 power p. This is 2 power p. So 2 power p. So 2 power p combinations of true false values. For a p binary predicates, there are at most 2 power p combination of true false values, and therefore at most is 2 power p domains. At most 2 power p domains. So find the set of all non-null domains. The fourth step is for p binary predicates there are at most 2 power p combinations of true false values, and therefore at most 2 power p domains, and find the set of all null domains. The result is a Boolean expression in the predicate consisting of a set of unterms joined by ORs. That means so x so less than 10 and y greater than 0, or x less than 10 or y greater than 0. So that means here these values, if you are using these any operators, logical operators, then for the binary predicates p, so that means for p binary predicates you get 2 power p combinations of true or false values. The fifth step is solve these inequalities. Solve these inequalities to find all extreme points of each domain. So extreme points already we discussed in our previous classes. So extreme point is nothing but, so this is the extreme point in this domain. Extreme point. Okay, from epsilon neighborhood. So this is the extreme point. Solve these inequalities. Find all extreme points of each domain. So for example, there is in this another domain. So this is the extreme point here. So that means solve these inequalities to find all the extreme points of each domain. Okay, so this domain testing is a white box testing. I hope you all know that the domain testing is a white box testing. And the last step, use the extreme points to solve for nearby on points and to locate midspan of points for every domain. That means based on these extreme points, you are going to identify the on points, on boundary points. These are the on points and off points. Okay. In our previous class, we discussed about on points and off points. Okay, this is the procedure for domain testing. The first one is identify input variables. The second one is identify variables which appear in domain. So define predicates such as control flow predicates. Interpret all domain predicates in terms of input variables. For P binary predicates that are at most 2 power P combinations of true false values, and therefore at 2 power P domains, so 2 power P domains. Solve these inequalities to find all the extreme points of each domain. Use the extreme points to solve for nearby on points and to locate midspan of points for every domain. Okay. And coming to effectiveness. It is so cost effective, bugs on boundaries, extreme points, hardware logic testing, and tool intensive. So these are the effectiveness of domain testing. In fact, the domain testing is tool intensive should not be a barrier to its effective exploitation. Okay, so this is about domain testing. Next concept is domain and interface testing. So domain testing plays a very important role in integration testing. Okay, so what is the integration here? Integration is nothing but we are going to use some global variables in our program, and data objects, and some function calls. So these are integrated with your program. So domain testing plays a very important role in integration testing. You can integrate all these parts. If it is a technique used to determine whether the components are accurate or not. Okay, so possible form of interfaces are as follows. So global variables of two components. So that means if I am defining a variable x and this x is used by function 1 and function 2. So this x is global to these two functions. Data objects of two components. So this is the y, this is the z letters. So data objects of two components. Now I want to send the data to this component. And subroutine call of two components. So there is another function. So these functions can call this function. Subroutine call of the two components. Subroutine is nothing but a function. So interface testing can be defined as a method of testing in which call to the subroutine is made detect the presence of any errors. Some of the applications of domain testing for interface testing are as follows. The first one is domains and range. Second one is closure compatibility, span compatibility, interface range and domain compatibility. So first one is domains and range. So what is a range means? The set of output values produced by a function is called the range of the function. So what is a range? The range is nothing but the set of output values produced by a function is called range of the function, in contrast with the domain. So first we discuss about domains and range. So domains are nothing but the values taken as input by the function. So for example, there is a function, so fun of int a, int a. Okay, so what is the domain? So domains are nothing but the values taken as input by this function. It takes some value. So for example, so 10. Now this 10 is the domain. What is the range? So range is just opposite to this domain. So opposite is nothing but the set of output values produced by this function. If this function receives the 10, then the 10 is domain. So what is the range? If it produces numbers, for example 18, let us assume it is 18. So this is the range. Okay, domains are nothing but the values taken as input by the function, and range is nothing but the function produced value. The function produced value we are called as a range. Okay. So ranges are the values obtained as output from the function. In more testing techniques, more focuses is on input values, but interface testing mainly focuses on output value. Okay, here in this interface testing, the focus is on output values. Interface testing is also used to check the accuracy between the domain and range. Interface testing is also used to check the accuracy between domain and range. So this is what 10 we receive, that is the domain, 18 is the range. Now the interface testing is also used to check the accuracy between these domain and range. Okay. And an interface test consists of exploring the correctness of some mappings. One is caller domain to caller range. So caller domain to caller range. So that we are calling caller unit test. So caller unit test. So caller domain to caller range. Another one is caller range to caller domain. So caller range to caller domain. So that is integration test. So caller domain to caller range. That is called unit test. So called unit test. An interface test consists of exploring the correctness of these three mappings. So one is caller domain to caller range. So caller range, caller domain, and caller domain, caller call range. Okay. The next one is closure compatibility. So closure compatibility. It is used to determine the closure affinity between the domain and the range. Let their domains lies between the number 1 to 18. Let us just wait. Yes. Okay. Assume that the caller range and the call domain spans the same numbers, for example 0 to 17. 0 to 17. The figure, this is the figure, which the caller's range so closer to the call domains, closer can agree. The thick line closed and the thin line means open. If you observe here, so there is a thick line. So thick line, if I am writing like this, thick line. If you observe, this is the thick line. If you observe, this is the thin line. The thick line means it is closed and the thin line means it is open. Okay, so now we see one more time. So closer compatibility. So closer compatibility. The caller range and the called domain spans the same numbers. So for example, 0 to 17. Here we are taking that 0 to 17 as a so caller range and the call domain spans. Now the four ways in which the caller range closer and the call domain closer can agree. The thick line means so closed and thin line means open. Now we get four cases. The four cases consisting of domains that are so closed both on top and bottom. So closed, if you observe that here, so closed both on top, that means 0 is the bottom, 0 to 7, 0, 17, 0, 17. The first condition is so closed both on top, and next one open top and closed bottom. So next one, so closed top and open bottom, and open top and bottom. So this is the first one. Here if you observe that, so both top and bottom are closed. Both top and bottom are closed. Here the thin line, if you observe, this is the thin line. So it is open top and closed bottom. Open top and closed bottom. And coming to third one, so this is the so open, so closed top and open bottom. The last one, so open top and open bottom. Okay, so this diagram shows that so four types. So one is so both are closed. Here the first one, both are closed. Second one, so top one is open, so bottom one is closed. And next one, so top one is closed and bottom one is open, and both open. Okay, so next one. Okay, so what we discussed. So these two lines can be represented in four possible ways. So two lines is nothing but one is thick line, another one is thin line. So thick lines on top and bottom, thin line on top and thick line on bottom. So thick line on top and thin line at the bottom. So thin lines on the top and bottom. That means so this is the so both are closed, both are open and bottom both are closed. And second one, so this is the open, that means the top one is open, the bottom one is closed. And next one is, the top one is closed and bottom one is